Violence against women is cancerous and retards the development of a nation. Since the UN took up the challenge on violence against women, a lot has been said, has been done in trying to fight violence against women. A lot of women today face a lot of violence, ranging from sexual violence, rape, political violence, misplacements of women in decision making in every sectors of development, marginalization of women's minds and opinions, abuse of women's bodies, killing of women, domestic violence, and many more. Yet, we are a society where conflict is a major concern to leaders and national development. The former Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, has mentioned that violence against women is an ill against a nation, and all hands must be on deck to ensure that this violence, this cancer, this menace, this terrible act is stopped. His Excellency Henry MacDonald, the former ambassador of Suriname to United Nations, took up a right to speak about he for she, bringing men into focus to end violence against women. An act was raised on he for she campaign, bringing men into focus because all fingers are geared towards the men, trying to doing everything possible to violate and abuse women. Men were involved. Men in a lot of activities, including wearing women's clothes, women's shoes, discussion in barber shops, raising campaign on he for she, getting men to sign into that global campaign. WOLMI-I.C.C took up the global challenge. Today, we at Women and Leadership of International Consulting Cabinet of WOLMI-I.C.C is raising our voice on issues of violence against women. It's not just about us. It's about the nation. It's about protection of women. It's about the voice of God into the ears of God's people. Women are the builders. Women are important element to development of a nation. Without women, there will be no families. Without women, the life of men will not be complete. That violence against women and girls is a terrible conflict. It affects the emotions of women. It affects the growth and development of children, the product of marriage. It hinders the potentials of women in bringing up their inherent potential to development. It puts the right women at the back door of development. We can't continue. We cannot continue to allow this to happen. In these 16th days of ending violence against women in 2020, that started from November the 25th and to end on December 10th. The United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, sent in a message that violence against women and girls is a global human rights challenge. The COVID-19 pandemic has further exposed this issue as a global emergency requiring urgent action at all levels, in all spaces and by all people. The UN Secretary General urged the international community to work to end the shadow pandemic of gender-based violence once and for all. He reiterated and relaunched that appeal in these 16 days of activism. The global community needs to hear the voices and experiences of women and girls and take into account the needs, especially survivors and those who face multiple and intersecting forms of discrimination. We must all prioritize women's leadership in finding solutions and engage men in the struggle. Action must involve predictable and flexible funding for women's rights organizations who so often act as first responders during crisis. It is critical that services for survivors of violence remain open with adequate resources and measures in place to support health, social, and justice responses. These measures should not only focus on intervening once violence against women has occurred, they should work to prevent violence occurring in the first place, including through addressing social norms and power imbalances, and police and judicial system need to increase accountability for perpetrators and end impunity. On this International Day, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres noted and reaffirmed the world, let us redouble our efforts to eradicate gender-based violence forever. Time is now to rise up and put a stop to this cankerworm on women and girls. The elimination of violence against women and girls, the 16 days activism, and the step-up action of Women and Leadership Department of International Consulting Cabinet of WOLMI-I have joined the unstoppable movement of decade of action to bring to all and sundry that time is now to stop any form of violence against women and girls and allow women inherent potentials from home to global community to exhibit their clarion call as bestowed upon them by God Almighty. Let's join hands and step up action. Let's get on board for the United Nations Decade of Action and the step-up action of Women and Leadership Department of International Consulting Cabinet and be the voice of all women. Ambassador Dr. Ada Junior Okika, Department of Women and Leadership, International Consulting Cabinet, Word of Life Ministries International, in special consultative status with the United Nations.